The festival was canceled after the closed assassination attempt on Elena. The atmosphere, which was at its peak, finally cooled down, leaving behind some tourists who were stranded due to the incident and filled with regret. This had left them in a state of frustration, having no way of spending their money or enjoying their time. In such situations, if an event were to take place, it would soothe them. And exactly, I took that chance, which led to this unexpected event right now. A duel between me, the heir to the House of Perdium, against Cain Loges, the heir to the House of Loges. As the audience craved entertainment, and bets were being placed. The merchants didn't waste a second either as they began to sell their goods for profit, while another opened a gambling area where all those who wanted to bet could place their money. As the bets overflowed, this was their easiest bet, as everyone had their money on Cain, excited for the easiest win ever. Cain was annoyed as he claimed duels were sacred, and I had turned one into a marketplace. He warned me that even if I surrendered, he wouldn't stop his attack. I had my suspicions about his visit this time. It seemed this was what they were after. Okay, seems everyone is gathered here. Seems enough. Shall we begin? I asked. The servant pretended to pity me as he claimed the bets didn't seem quite fair, which confused the audience. The gambler agreed as nobody had placed bets on me. I looked at the merchant, unamused by his words. The audience began to insult the merchant's words as they all knew who was going to win, assuming I stood no chance against Cain. Yikes, Gilson. Seems the marketplace is ignoring you, he taunted. How about we change the odds of the bets? A voice spoke as the figure placed a bag full of gold before the merchant. It was Skovan who had placed his bet on me. This made me happy. Another bag, 3 times larger than the first, was placed beside Skovan's bet. It was Elena and Belinda, as Elena placed a bet on me too. This surprised both Skovan and Ricardo, and I was also taken by surprise. The audience was shocked as they realized it was Elena betting on me. She asked the merchant if this was enough to cover the bet, and the merchant agreed it would suffice. The servant was annoyed as all his efforts to humiliate me failed, and this had also annoyed Cain. The announcer shouted at us to be ready and begin the duel. I know I'm older than you, Cain, so I'll give you the privilege to make the first move. My statement confused Cain as I reached for my sword, unsheathing it, reminding Cain that as an elder I was about to put belt to ass on him, and telling Cain to quickly attack, as I couldn't wait to discipline him. I could see this man couldn't wait to split my skull. Don't you think it's a little late for you to act like an older brother, Gilson? He said, getting into a battle position. The merchant announced the duel to begin as Cain instantly launched into the air. My lord, I never thought in my life I would see a fridge jumping that high. With his huge brute strength and immense force, he attacked as I took a blocking stance, trying to stop the immense force of the attack. There's no backing back now, Gilson, for I won't stop even if you surrender. He tried a stun attack to force me off balance. Cain launched a counterattack as I swiftly used Cain's force against him, managing to evade the attack. Closing in, Cain launched a kick to stop my charge, forcing me to pull back, looking at me with a smug smile full of confidence. Like, look at this man, baby, full of himself. In the audience, I had Ricardo and Belinda worried as they saw how much brute force Cain possessed. The servant knew this time he wouldn't fail, as every opponent who chose to cross swords with Cain was usually overwhelmed by his immense power, leaving them no window to counterattack until they had used all their energy. And in the end, after the opponent was exhausted, dodging would leave an opening, and they would meet their end under his sword. And that's how Cain Loges had always won. He taunted me for dodging all his attacks, and with a quick spin of his blade, Cain grabbed the sharp part, swinging the sword like a club at me with great force. As I prepared to block, Cain switched momentum and began to pull his blade, which I realized too late, as the sword handle grabbed me. As Cain launched me straight into the air, this made the audience fear for me as they knew it was the end, knowing I had fallen into Cain's trap and left an opening. Cain was already preparing his next attack as I came crashing down. I wanted to go easy on my young one, but this time Cain had really crossed the line. I regained my footing on the wall, and like lightning, I was instantly in Cain's face. Since if there's a lightning strike, it's usually followed by thunder. Cain was shocked, and at that moment he knew he had died. The servant was surprised by how I had condensmon on my feet. I insulted Cain as his swordsmanship was crude, as he depended on his strength to scare his enemies into defeat.
Let the belt to ass begin.
Cain was really getting annoyed as he shouted for me to prove my words with action instead of words. Finally, let's fast counter that bullshit you're trying to perform, Kane. I instantly canceled his attack motion with a kick. He increased the force, using it to maneuver out of the way. Using the force of the spin, I attacked Kane as I came down, striking his back, arms, underarm, and abdomen. The increase in pain made Kane increase his attack force, but his piercing attack was easily dodged by me. I stepped on his sword, making him lose his stance, and counterattacked with a slash to his neck. I was sad for this child being used like that, as all the cuts I had done opened and blood began to splash everywhere. This sight stunned the audience, as no one could believe I was able to accomplish what I had done. Belinda couldn't believe her eyes. Elena was proud. Scovin felt relieved with joy, seeing my performance worthy of the next heir. The servant couldn't believe what had happened. Even Kane, seeing his cuts, realized they were so accurate and not deep enough to cause fatal wounds. He didn't understand how I could show such a level of swordsmanship. As I stood before him, I wasn't like an opponent. I was like his executioner. My eyes were filled with disgust as I felt like I was bullying the weak. I threw away my blade and told Kane that the difference in swordsmanship between us was too great, and it wouldn't be entertaining for the merchants and visitors. I claimed that I would be fighting him barehanded. This was the greatest insult to someone with an ego like Kane. I told him that this was the day I began to educate his stupid head. And since his skull was thick, my knuckles were perfect for the job.